liberals, not the conservatives, are the one who pound.
Not appropriate.
In this world, cesspool of kindness and ethical blindness. So please excuse my sarcastic tone. I'm a bit underwhelmed by the sample shown. Mr. Bistro fraternity guy, you got the ass for bloodshot eyes. Get drunk and fight every night. Idolize Bradley, belittle women's rights. Homophobic, racist, and don't give a fucking hey. Do you think you can drive a bigger truck? So wear your baseball cap to the side to let everyone know that you're a nice guy. So cool, we're so impressed. Lots of chicks and a barrel chest. Cause you're a real man. Punch for punch, gonna piss in your face while you're passed out drunk. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. She's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. I just can't understand it. How could divine by deception and lies? Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics, cause everybody gets their just desserts. As long as you remember that nice guys finish first. You're next on the list. Such a nice guy who speaks through his fists. Prick with a penchant for messing with heads. A broken nose for dinner and breakfast in bed. Alcoholic, paranoid, and suicidal too. But you'll probably kill her before she gets away from you. She lives in a blue blood and cry. All your friends say that you're a nice guy. Have a drink, this one's on me. Look, you're doing fine, losing to your disease. Comatose, I'll pack your bags. Bury you like Katrina. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. We're all nice guys, but all of you are assholes. He's a nice guy, she's a nice guy. Hey, Tom Bo's a nice guy. All of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. The public demented. Put a body by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics. So let the budgies will quench your thirst. As long as you remember that nice guys finish first.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Plex. We do the show live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific right here on Twitch, also simulcasting to YouTube. For as long as we are allowed on YouTube, I suppose. This is listener and viewer supported programming, so go ahead and go to echoplexmedia.com, click the support link at the top of the page, find your favorite way to support. There's also an entire show that's usually longer than this show after the show called Red Light. That doesn't go out on the podcast. If you sign up for Patreon or at eplex.store, at the $5 level or higher, you will get that in your inbox, audio and video of that, and you'll get it a day before the podcast hits Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that. I don't know if that's something you want. Probably not, but I don't know. I need to fucking buy groceries, so maybe think about it. I'm producer Dave. You can find me on Grindr as long as Grindr is still legal, and I just want to remind everyone of something.
Everything's fine and everything's
what do you do? Sorry I'm late, I kept hitting snooze. It's just one of those days. You know what they say. It is what it is. Ignorance is bliss. When it rains, it pours. Couldn't ask for more. What goes around comes around, all in good time. I guess that your guess is as good as mine. Everything's fine and everything's fine and it's great. Thanks. Everything's fine and everything's fine and it's great. Thanks. Everything's fine and everything's fine and it's great. Thanks. Everything's fine and everything's fine. I hope you have a real nice day. Everything's fine and everything's fine and it's great. Thanks. Everything's fine and everything's fine and it's great. Thanks. Everything's fine and everything's fine and it's great. Thanks. Everything's fine and everything's fine. I hope you have a real nice day.
All right, everything's fine, and it's great. And here's the fucking president of the United States talking about the crypto reserve.
Yesterday, I signed an executive order officially creating our strategic Bitcoin reserve.
Get the fuck out of here! Shut the. Oh no!
And this will be a virtual Fort Knox for digital gold to be housed within the United States Treasury. That's a big thing, Scott. The federal government is already among the largest holders of Bitcoin, as you know. Really one of the largest holders in the world, with as many as 200,000 Bitcoin obtained via civil law and various other forms of law.
Oh no. Ah, no, the fucking U.S. Treasury is going to get fucking rug pulled on some shit, yo. Maybe it won't be fucking Bitcoin, but like this is just the beginning, right? They're going to probably start having a shitcoin reserve too. Somebody's going to fucking rug pull the U.S. Treasury and it's going to be fucking not great. It'll be funny, but like only funny for like a while until it's not funny anymore, until people realize what actually is happening here. Like, it's one thing, okay, if Bitcoin were seized in like raids is part of like civil judgments and the US government wants to hold on to it thinking that it might be worth more later, or more importantly, if I was law enforcement, I'd have fucking Bitcoin fucking sitting around, right? Because you could use it to do investigations on people who are, I don't know, selling drugs, which is generally what the law enforcement does. So, but it doesn't seem like a great idea. Up next, we got a press conference in the Oval Office, and you're just not supposed to ask this question, so I don't know what to tell you.
Mr. President, since you last spoke about it yesterday, some details have come out about your cabinet meeting with Elon Musk and some clashes potentially between Secretary Rubio and Secretary
No
Duffy.
clash. I was there. You're just a troublemaker. And you're not supposed to be asking that question because we're talking about the World Cup. But Elon gets along great with Marco, and they're both doing a fantastic job. There is no...
You're not supposed to ask that question.
Bottom line,
Who are you with?
NBC.
No wonder. That's
Mr. President,
NBC.
who has more authority, Elon Musk or the cabinet secretaries?
Any other questions about the World Cup?
Can we unveil the trophy, maybe?
I'd love to.
Because this is something...
Any more questions about the World Cup? Fuck, I think the World Cup's going to be, some of the games are going to be in fucking San Jose. We've been talking about that on Down Ballot. And that's not going to be good because it always sucks for everybody when the World Cup comes to town. But the question was like, Marco Rubio don't like Elon Musk. And he's like, oh, you're not supposed to ask that. Well, they're just going to ask whatever they want to ask, dude. I mean, for now, at least, until you like make it so that only people who are loyal to you are allowed to have access to the briefings, which I assume is coming soon, right? It's just going to be like a bunch of Trump loyalists. Like there'll be a somebody from InfoWars, One American News Network, Newsmax, possibly the Daily Stormer. Who knows? Up next, here's Tammy Baldwin talking about budget cuts to social services on MSNBC.
You know, on Medicaid and Medicare, Trump a little over a week ago said on Fox News, I'm not touching Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. And he said it multiple times. The next morning, he endorsed the Republican House budget, which calls for nearly $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid.
How does that impact rural health care in Wisconsin and across the country?
It will devastate critical access hospitals in rural areas. Nursing homes will have to close. Remember that 8 million seniors depend on Medicaid, especially when they need skilled nursing care. And a third of all children are on Medicaid. Adults with disabilities often are on Medicaid for their health care and transportation needs. And so I can tell you our phones are ringing off the hook. My guest for the State of the Union tomorrow will be a woman with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer who relies on Medicaid for her treatment. She is terrified about the possible impacts of a cut to Medicaid because it will mean either she and her family go bankrupt or she'll stop treatment.
Anybody have any guesses on what happened next? It passed, so far as I know. Maybe I could be wrong here, but anyway, of course Trump said he's not touching Medicare and Medicaid. He said that to an audience where he thought a bunch of old people were watching, and he fucking just endorsed it anyway. Does anybody know if that vote happened? I don't even know. And it's 50, as far as Tammy Baldwin's concerned, it's 50-50 that she'll fucking vote for it anyway. She's one of them, yo. She's one of them. She's like, pretend she's not like that, but she like that. Up next, we got the Supreme Court will uphold all the crap that Doge is doing because Donald Trump is super popular, I suppose. That's probably how the Supreme Court works now, but that wasn't the idea in the first place.
Attorney General Bundy, can you get this to the Supreme Court? I mean, how does this end? Here, Trump, all he's saying is he wants to review, he wants to pause federal funding. In some areas, not all, pause federal funding for a review. He's not even cutting yet, and these judges won't let him have a review. Now, there's something terribly wrong about that.
Well, Larry, first of all, there's a reason why they don't want the president to see the money. There's a reason why they don't want
it's because he'll just take it. If he sees it, he'll be like, I don't know where it went. It was on my desk a minute ago. I got to go. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Money's been going. It's massive. The fraud is massive.
Mm-hmm.
I think the crimes attached to it that we're going to find are unprecedented. And that's why the Supreme Court is backing us up. They're going to back us up. It's just getting through all these district court judges. Because the president has a right. He was elected overwhelmingly by the people of the United States of America.
Overwhelmingly?
Just the job that he's doing.
It was slim. It wasn't overwhelmingly. Like, a lot of people didn't vote. Like, overwhelming. No president in the popular vote has been voted in overwhelmingly. I think the last president who we would say won overwhelmingly was probably Barack Obama's second term. Maybe we would call that overwhelming. Maybe. But really, you got to go probably back to the Reagan, for the first Reagan election, to see something like see like a blowout. See somebody get BTFO in an election. These people are so stupid. And she was like, oh, the Supreme Court's going to, and she's like, oh, she backtracked. She's like, I think they're going to. I get the feeling that they're fucking back channeling to their Supreme Court majority on this stuff. Here we go. Things are getting interesting here. Justin Trudeau has announced a 25% tariff on some U.S. goods. And here's what he has to say about it. Give me just a moment here.
Now, just like I did a month ago, I want to speak first directly to the American people. We don't want this. We want to work with you as a friend and ally. And we don't want to see you hurt either. But your government has chosen to do this to you. As of this morning, markets are down, and inflation is set to rise dramatically all across your country. Your government has chosen to put American jobs at risk, at the thousands of workplaces that succeed because of materials from Canada or because of consumers in Canada, or both. They've chosen to raise costs for American consumers on everyday essential items like groceries and gas, on major purchases like cars and homes, and everything in between. They've chosen to harm American national security, impeding access to the abundant critical minerals, energy, building materials, and fertilizers that we have and that the United States needs to grow and prosper. They've chosen to launch a trade war that will, first and foremost, harm American families. They've chosen to sabotage their own agenda that was supposed to usher in a new golden age for the United States. And they've chosen to undermine the incredible work we've done together to tackle the scourge that is fentanyl, a drug that must be wiped from the face of the earth. So on that point, let me be crystal clear. There is absolutely no justification or need whatsoever for these tariffs today.
Yeah, they just got to do something. You got to do it back. Like, it's fucked up. Like, I don't know why we're doing any of this. I mean, I don't know. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, I think he just doesn't like fucking Justin Trudeau. Like, I literally think it's all fucking personal for Donald Trump. I think he, for some reason, doesn't like Justin Trudeau. Probably because Justin Trudeau doesn't kiss that ass. And he doesn't like the president of Mexico. She's a lefty, but I think it's a lot of it because she's a fucking woman. And Trump is like sexist, and he just has a problem with Mexico more broadly, like as an idea. And I keep saying this, like, when bad shit happens to America, Canada and Mexico are Johnny on the fucking spot. Like, remember, it was not that long ago. People were making jokes about it, right? But there was flooding in Texas, and when floods happen, it's counterintuitive, but there's no water. And Mexico just, no questions asked, just started trucking water into the fucking Texas. And during the fires in the Southern California, Canada, no questions asked, came and helped. They sent their fire crews out to help fight the fucking fire. These nations have been good friends to the United States, good trading partners. And, you know, the word ally is a little weird because neither of these nations, Mexico nor Canada, are like, have really very powerful militaries. But, you know, their countries are bordering ours, and makes it, I guess, a little harder if somebody wanted to invade us. If they, you know, going through Mexico, Mexico's not going to give them the fucking red carpet treatment as they try to go through. But we're just shitting on these people, and like, there's no rhyme or reason. It doesn't help anyone. The only reason is fucking like personal grievance, and probably in the case of I think Mexico's the president. In the case of the Mexican president, it's probably fucking sexism. So just so you don't think this is a partisan issue in Canada, here is the head of the Canadian Conservative Party talking about these tariffs and this trade war.
At 12:01 a.m., President Trump stabbed America's best friend in the back. My message to the president is this: Canada will fight back. We will defend our people and our economy, and we will put Canada first. There is no doubt that our economy will suffer, but so will yours, President Trump. In fact, you're already paying the price, with trillions of dollars erased in stock market value over the last month of these threats. Already, Americans are paying higher gas prices as at midnight, a new American gas tax kicked in on U.S. working class taxpayers and motorists. Your workers will soon start losing jobs they had upgrading Canadian raw materials, which, by the way, you were getting at an incredible and ridiculous bargain. And your businesses will be selling fewer products to your closest neighbor. And that's only the beginning. While Canadians are slow to anger and quick to forgive, once provoked, we fight back. And we will fight back.
I like how he was kind of digging it like the America First thing there, saying that they're going to put Canada first. Now this is Pierre Poilievre. Let's like not get it twisted. This guy's a ghoul. But the thing is, he's a little like Trump in that doing this to Canada, he takes it personal. It's some ego shit for him, right? And he's not like a big fan of Donald Trump. Like, it's not like that. He's not like some of the Eastern European leaders where they're like big fans of Donald Trump or whatever. He's not a big fan of Donald Trump. So this is going to get bad. It's going to get real bad. I think the real shit's going to hit the fan is going to be Mexico when Mexico decides what they're going to do, because people in California, Texas, Arizona, like all the Southwest of the United States, like a lot of our fucking produce comes from Mexico. California grows a lot of food, no doubt. And I'm sure that California exports some food to Mexico, but I think that there's a deficit, like a trade deficit there. We get a lot more food from Mexico. You know, I go to the bougie grocery store in my neighborhood, and it tells you where the produce is from. And so much of the lower cost, higher quality produce there, like tomatoes, the tomatoes there that are like $1.60 a pound, that are like good fucking Roma tomatoes, those are from Mexico. Like the onions that are there that are Mexico. Like a lot of the field greens and shit that are from there, Mexico. So like, I don't know what the fuck they think they're doing, but also we haven't heard from Mexico yet. Speaking of Mexico, the USA is doing this because Canada has been taken over by fucking Mexican drug cartels. Act like you know.
Their sabers, but I don't want to contribute to that. What I want to say to every world leader who gets up in arms when all we're asking for is fairness and to have them stop killing our people is, please listen to us. Canada could do a lot more. Canada has been taken over, Brett, by Mexican cartels. They bring up these pill presses and printers and the medicines that they fake. You can't tell the difference.
Yeah, it's major
Pharma
problem.
companies can. You need a spectrometer to do.
No, you don't need a spectrometer. As a person who I don't do Molly anymore, but if I did Molly, you don't need a mass spec machine to check your Molly, for example, or to check for fent. There's fucking test kits. They're cheap. You take it, like if you have if anybody's been to a rave or Dance Safe has been there, you've seen this. Hopefully, if you were buying pills from somebody you didn't know, you've seen this. They take just a little tiny bit off of your pill, and then they fucking just put a drop of some liquid on it, and if it stays the same color, fucking, I don't know, it ain't no fentanyl or whatever. Back in the day, they were looking for DXM in it, right? But otherwise, then it's probably fine. I mean, it's not good for you, right? It's MDMA. But yeah, the test kits are cheap. This is incorrect. And also, I'm not sure that that's a long way to why would you do that? You don't need to go to Canada to do that. I'm not saying it's not happening in Canada. It just seems like logistically, it seems like a big hassle for a criminal organization that exists in Mexico to go do they go around the U.S.? Do they go through the U.S.? Like they're going to enter U.S. waters and stuff. It seems like a problem. It seems like a lot more work than just pressing the pills in Mexico. Unless because they think that if they're coming from Canada, people will trust them. I don't know. But also, there's probably just organized crime in Canada that has nothing to do with the fucking cartels. And maybe they have relationships with the cartels or whatever, but they have not been taken. Nobody's been taken over by the cartels. And they're probably going to start talking about MS-13 pretty soon, because that's a big gang. It's a big international gang. And that shit started in good old US of A in Los Angeles. They never bring that shit up. Even the regular news fucking never brings that shit up. Next, we're also pissing off the fucking, of all people, fucking Nigel Farage. He's pissed off Nigel Farage. How the fuck do you... Nigel Farage is like a massive goon. Like, what the
Okay, and I'm sure you've seen J.D. Vance's comments, the Vice President of the United States, seeming to suggest that we're just a random country that hasn't fought a war in 30, 40 years. Surely that is a massive insult to those who lost their lives in Afghanistan and Iraq.
J.D. Vance is wrong. Wrong. For 20 years in Afghanistan, pro rata, our size against America's, we spent the same amount of money, we put the same number of men and women in, and we suffered the same losses. We
were just as stupid as America in the war on terror.
By America all through those 20 years, putting in exactly the same contribution. And all right, they may be 6 times bigger, but we did our bit. So on this one, JD is wrong.
On this one, JD is wrong. On this one. I wonder how many times fucking these people are going to have to be what this guy considers to be wrong for him to just fucking absolutely turn on them. This Nigel Farage is another motherfucker who has an ego. And if he thinks that their behavior is undermining him in any way, he'll turn on them. Now, they don't need Nigel Farage or whatever, but they do need like conservative, like they need allies from the conservative movement across the globe if they're going to get other shit done that isn't just like torturing American citizens and fucking people's retirement up. They're making everybody mad, including appears to be a car dealer from Pennsylvania.
Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram.
Yeah.
Impact.
Dramatic. I sold order for a customer, $80,000 truck. It's $100,000 now. So he's not going to buy the truck. It's going to sit on my lot at the higher interest rates we're paying right now for floor plan, and nobody's going to buy the truck because it just had a $20,000 price increase.
Right. Kelley Blue Book will put the number up. They say the average vehicle will go up by about $3,000. Does it sound right to you?
No, it will not. We don't have the broad stroke. We don't have the linear, the tight strokes. But to me, it's a 25% tariff. So that affects our parts that come from over these countries, and a whole bunch of our cars.
And you've been basing your business model on free trade, basically. This is what the American Automakers Policy Council says, Maria, in response to this. They say our American automakers invested billions in the U.S. to meet the requirements of the current free trade agreement. They shouldn't have their competitiveness undermined by tariffs that'll raise the cost of building vehicles in the U.S. and stymie investment in the American workforce while competitors from the outside of North America benefit. The German, there's no tariff on the German cars coming in now.
No, they're Japanese. They're going to be okay, but think about it. We built our business around that. The OEMs built their business around that, and now it changes on a dime, and we can't build a $4 billion plant overnight in the United States. So I think building in the United States is great. I think enhancing the participation from the other countries on the other things, but this is pretty radical.
I hear you. There you go, Maria, where the rubber meets the road here.
All right, great. Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, exactly. Jeff, thank you. Thank you so much. Jeff Flock at the Dodge Ram plant. Not plant. It's not a plant, Chris. They're selling cars. Thank you, dealership. But you know what? Let me ask you this, okay?
Yes.
How many Dodge Rams do you see driving around Europe? Okay. How many Dodge Rams do you see driving around India? I mean, not many, I bet. Why? Because they don't buy our cars. And that's what President Trump is trying to change. Maybe Dodge should start building them here and selling them here.
Okay, first of all, the guy said that there was no tariff on vehicles coming in from Germany. I don't know if that's true. That sounds untrue. I don't know. There's a reason people in other countries don't buy, for example, like a Dodge Ram. It is a monstrosity of a truck that is basically trying to put a luxury car into a truck. They will buy a Toyota truck. They will probably buy a Ford F-150, or if there's still a Ford Ranger equivalent. Those are like no frills kind of trucks. They will buy those trucks. But these trucks that are 80, 100 grand, why would they buy them? They don't, in these other countries, they don't like look for a truck that is like a Mercedes inside. The American trucks have been getting bigger, guzzling more gas and they have the same or less payload than they used to have. And so they're useless, essentially, to people in other countries who need a truck. In other countries, a truck like that is not a status symbol the way it is here. If you buy a big old fucking truck like that and you live, even if you live in the countryside somewhere in Europe, people are like, what the fuck do you have that for? That's why they're not buying them. They're monstrosities, and they have the same payload as like those, remember those old 80s Toyota pickups that everybody had that just ran for fucking ever? They can literally carry the same amount of shit as that fucking truck from the 80s that was much smaller and got very good gas mileage. And somebody said Toyota makes the Tacoma. They make a version of the Tacoma that's more suited to the American market, but they make stripped down versions of that truck that you can buy that are basically just an engine, a fucking cabin with the fucking basics, and a bed so that you can haul your shit around if you need to do it for your business. Also, like in the other countries, to haul stuff around, they're using things like Mercedes vans. A lot of Mercedes vans being sold to businesses in Europe. And those aren't cheap, actually. Ford also makes the Transit line of vans. Those are a little more reasonable, but still not cheap. But nobody in Europe or India or anybody wants to go drop $100,000 on a fucking truck that doesn't really, where you could spend half of it and get a truck that does the same truck stuff and gets better gas mileage from another country. And they just don't, they don't, that's not how they think about trucks in other countries. It's not a status symbol the way that they are here. And here we go. This is more from our friends over at Fox Business. The economy's not doing so hot, apparently, according to, of all places, Fox Business. If it ever loads, these wonderful websites they got here we go. Great websites.
Some very, very smart people are telling me that the jobs number that's coming out, the February jobs number that's coming out Friday, could be flat, even negative, Brookie. The GDP Now tracker from the Atlanta Fed is showing, I mean, for the first quarter, a -2.5% or -2.8%. And we've had lousy numbers on things like housing and business investment. My generic point here with respect to affordability and the economy is we're going to have to suffer through some bad news. This has nothing to do with Trump. Trump's program's not in yet. And I got people on the left who are blaming Trump. How can you blame Trump when he wasn't president, when these seeds were planted?
Well, you could.
What the fuck? No. First of all, the stock market, if the stock market's down, it's because people are not hopeful about the future in general. All the stock market's just a fucking, it's just like gambling with a pocket watch. Like Bitcoin is gambling in a goon cave. But yeah, a lot of this stuff, it's all speculative. If the housing market softens, it's because people are afraid to buy a house, basically. If the job market softens, it's because employers are afraid to hire. And it's usually because they're looking forward, not looking back. I mean, that's it. This is what an economist might tell you. I'm not an economist.
Be more right about that, because we've only been here 30 plus days. You can't turn an entire economy around in 30 days. You can't bring the cost of goods down in 30 days. And, you know, it isn't just that what.
Oh, but boy, howdy, can you make the price of goods go up in fucking 30 days by scaring the shit out of everybody? Boy, howdy, can you tank the fucking stock market in a day by scaring the shit out of everybody? You can tank the housing market in fucking a day by telling everybody that you're fucking imposing tariffs on everybody. And that, you know, if you work somewhere that requires goods from other countries to do your job, you might be worried about the safety and the security of your job, even if you have a pretty high paying job and you're in a position to buy a house. If your job exports things, say to Canada, where they're not only is there a trade war going on, but the Canadian people have stopped buying American products. And not entirely, but there are a good number of Canadians who are just not buying American products. There was a story I was reading about, there's alcohol distributors. I don't know if people know this, but if when you go to if you go to your local liquor store, they probably bought all the alcohol. But if you go to Bevmo, that shit's there on consignment. If you go to like Total Wine and More, that shit's there on consignment. And there's a lot of shops like that in Canada. And if that shit's on consignment and you haven't paid for it, boy, howdy, you can just send it back. When I was reading, I forget it was actually some a friend of mine who's in the alcohol industry had posted about it, and it was from some trade publication where they were talking about like some of these distributors are getting ready for this massive amount of United States alcohol being sent back by big Canadian like businesses that have it on consignment. And that's going to be fucked. Except when I go to the store, man, am I going to be able to get a deal on some fucking booze because there's goddamn too much of it. Now, it sucks for the whiskey drinkers up in Canada because let's be real. I'm not a whiskey guy, but I do know a lot of whiskey guys. Friends, the Canadians don't make great whiskey, but you know who does? The Scotch and the Japanese. And so people who want better whiskey will just buy Scotch and Japanese whiskey. Hopefully the Scotch and Japanese whiskey companies actually maybe step up a little bit and give a little bit of a break to the people in Canada. Some of that stuff's expensive. That Hibiki is expensive. Oh, somebody in chat said that that Canada does make good whiskey. Well, I don't know. I know the reputation of Canadian whiskey is not great. I'm not a whiskey drinker. I am a vodka drinker. Ooh, and it kind of sucks that you can't get Russian vodka. Russian vodka is good. Anyway, Trump knows why everything's going bad. And if you could imagine, it's not his fault. Never be his fault. Can't possibly be his fault. You know who it is? Fucking globalists.
Mr. President, what are you making of the market sell-off this week?
I think it's globalists that see how rich our country's going to be and they don't like it. You know, there's a big market out there. But again, they've been ripping off this country for years, and they're going to do great. Everyone's going to do great, but we can't let this continue to happen to America. Otherwise, we're not going to have a country any longer. Thank you very much, everybody.
You can't let what continue to happen to foreign investors are pulling their money out of the fucking stock market. Fuck yeah, they're pulling that. Yes. The next shoe that's going to drop is we're going to see like the Nikkei index in Japan start to go up. There's like the London Stock Exchange. We're probably going to see some interesting action over there. But don't worry, everybody. Maybe this is all just playing chicken. Maybe this is all going to be rolled back. Maybe it'll be rolled back fucking tomorrow. Here's more from Fox Business.
He's going to come out today angry that Americans are still being killed. Now, both the Mexicans and the Canadians were on the phone with me all day today trying to show that they'll do better. And the president's listening because he's very, very fair and very reasonable. So I think he's going to work something out with them. It's not going to be a pause, none of that pause stuff. But I think he's going to figure out, you do more and I'll meet you in the middle some way. And we're going to probably be announcing that tomorrow. So somewhere in the middle will likely be the outcome. The president moving with the Canadians and Mexicans, but not all the way.
Just to clarify,
I'm just telling you, this all comes to a halt if Mexico just says we're not sending you any produce. Fuck you, grow your own produce. This all comes to a halt. And I don't think that's out of the question. I don't think we're going to see it tomorrow, and I'm not going to predict it. I wouldn't even say that it's in the next year 50% or higher. But in the next year, I'd say there's maybe a 10, 15% chance that at some point Mexico just says, fuck you. We can sell our tomatoes somewhere else. You guys are being giant assholes. Fucking feed yourselves. Then your produce is going to go up, and Trump's going to go try to blame Mexico for it. I'm not hoping for that because boy, howdy do I love being able to get cheap, high quality produce that was grown in Mexico. But man, this is all incredibly fucked up. Everybody's talking about Canada, but the fucking elephant in the room here is Mexico. People talk about the center of the country being America's breadbasket. Now, sure, if you're making a loaf of bread, I suppose. But if you're trying to make a fucking salad, friends, that's Mexico. Mexico is America's salad bowl. Up next, I forgot this person even existed. This is Kim Iverson. and she's talking to Dr. Simone Gold. I'm sorry, former Dr. Simone Gold, disgraced former Dr. Simone Gold, about how RFK Jr. was pressured into telling people during a measles outbreak that maybe it might not actually be the worst idea to make sure that everybody in your family is vaccinated. He was pressured into it.
Speaking of him, what do you think about his latest op-ed about the measles vaccine? I just have to ask you about that real quick, because that has really inflamed a lot of people. A lot of people are very inflamed. They feel abandoned. They feel shocked. They feel like, here was somebody, we wanted you to be Health and Human Services Secretary. You're in there, and then you write an op-ed saying, go get the measles vaccine. Like, what the heck, Bobby?
So I'm a little less upset than other people, only because I know him and I know him well. So I think he's stuck in a bureaucratic Washington situation where he probably sometimes has to do things he doesn't want to do, is my guess. That's my guess. I've actually had conversations with him about the measles vaccine. He knows it shouldn't. He don't think he doesn't know about it. He actually did a movie a while back called Medical Racism that didn't get much attention. He knows in that movie, which he produced, you can see him talk about the measles vaccine. Like, he knows the facts. Right. So I think perhaps he was pressured. I think perhaps he's focused on making sure that they're not mandated, that you have the option. And I just have to assume his arm was twisted a little bit. It is upsetting.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think so at all. I think it's pretty simple here. The dude's a fucking opportunist. He is all down to spread anti-vaccine rhetoric, but now the problem is he's fucking in charge of that shit. He's in charge of that shit, right? And so this make America healthy again. Well, if people's kids be dying, people's kids be getting sick of measles, maybe some of those people, even people who are maybe formerly predisposed to be in line with RFK Jr.'s position. It's like that thing we talk about, how conservatives, like, you know, a conservative is like, well, you know, it's only a problem if it happened to me, and like a liberal, and it's like, well, that could happen to anyone, and we should try to avoid that. And I mean, these are broad strokes. There are like good conservative people out there who do care about other people, but I think this is one of those things. He's like, well, I mean, I don't know. I never had any repercussions happen to me because I was spreading a bunch of fucking anti-vaccine rhetoric. But now that I'm fucking supposedly in charge of this shit, we had somebody die of measles and there's a measles outbreak. Like, I don't like this. I think that's it. I think it's just pure opportunism from RFK Jr. And he's like, well, in the future, I can say to people, well, you know, I'm more moderate than you think, because when I was in charge of HHS, I did advocate for the measles vaccine during a measles outbreak. But the problem with advocating for the measles vaccine only during the outbreak is, friend, the bell already got rung, right? The vaccine isn't a treatment for measles. The vaccine is prophylaxis for measles. There are treatments for measles, but they're far more expensive and like more difficult. And then we don't have a lot of capacity as a country for that, because if you could imagine, people weren't getting measles all the time before. So it's not that the treatments don't exist or whatever. It's that there's fucking pretty limited capacity as far as the ability to treat it, especially if the outbreak continues to grow, as it seems like that it may, based on some fucking terrifying vaccine numbers we saw, especially at some of the private schools in Texas. So he gets to like go out there and be like, I told people to get the vaccine, but it's too late. You already, you know, it's like after the car's going off the cliff, right? You tell them to be like, slow down. Everybody drives slow. It's like, friend, we're about to die. Up next, we got Tommy Tuberville, because of course they're talking about men and women's sports.
But, you know, we're getting to a point now where women and girls sports are getting ready to be extinct, because already in states across this country, we have high school teams that are made up of totally boys participating against girls. So it's very serious. Hopefully we can get something done today. But President Trump's executive order is only going to last, John, 4 years. After that, it'll probably go the other way.
So there aren't first of all, this guy doesn't give a fuck about women's sports. Nobody outside of there is a rising fandom for women's basketball, which is great. I'm not into sports. If I can catch a women's basketball game, it's the WNBA. I will catch the WNBA. But outside of that, these people don't give a fuck. And I bet there might have been a point during this guy's career where he said, well, women shouldn't even be playing sports in the first place. And I think we did watch some right-wing ghouls say that. But there are not fucking high school, there are not sports teams where the majority of the people on the women's team were assigned male at birth. This isn't true. There are very few trans women athletes more broadly. And as you get higher up into the higher up in the layer cake where there's a lot of money at stake or whatever, it's actually trans women are at a disadvantage due to a number of factors, including like the hormone treatments. They're not like at this huge advantage like everybody says. But more to the point, there are not teams like this. There are teams like some places where there's like a trans girl on the team. That's it. And fucking leave them alone. And like my position on trans people in sports has been the same the whole time. I don't know enough about the issue. I want trans people to be treated with dignity and respect. And there are sanctioning bodies for sports at a certain level. And I would hope that those sanctioning bodies consider these matters carefully and make the right decision. And that's been my position. Up next, Senator Jim Banks on cuts to the veterans, to the VA, the Veterans Administration. I was going to call it the Veterans Association. It's the Veterans Administration. Oh, and also, of course, trans rights. We have trans people in our community, and I have trans neighbors. It's all gravy, baby.
President Trump is focused on our veterans, delivering care to our veterans, and we're going to do that. And we're going to do it even more efficiently than ever before.
So you endorse the cuts to key support staff on the veteran hotline. That's
there
something
have not been cuts to key support staff
there
at the VA. The VA is going to work more efficiently, and DOJ is going to recommend and find ways to do that. And Congress, it is true. The
Senator,
45 days into this administration, President Trump is focused. I'm focused. Republicans are focused on making the VA work better. I mean, the fact is what President Trump did in his first term to provide more community care and better options.
More community care and better options means cutting the VA. And like, I don't know, fucking, if it's the Republican Party, usually that means have the church do it or some shit, right?
Veterans, whether it's at a VA hospital or at a private hospital.
We're talking about cuts to the VA right now.
He did historic and great things.
Dude, if these people need to grow a spine. If you're trying to break in on your own show, you need to fucking cut the other person's mic and advise them that they will not be invited on your show again if they just fucking talk over you. It doesn't matter if you agree with them or you disagree with them. You were a guest on someone else's show and you should act accordingly. And these people should be enforcing that.
Don't change the subject,
for the
Senator.
VA in his first term.
Sir,
he's going to do even more and greater things for the VA in his second term. I'm not changing the subject. Okay. Your bogus claims you can't.
Yeah, I don't know who this host is, but it's her producer's fault, honestly. Her producer needs to just, because he's got an earpiece in too, and the producer needs to be like, sir, we're going to kick you off the show if you just keep talking while our host tries to ask questions. She asked a question and he just talked the whole rest of that. He talked right over her when she was trying to break in to ask a follow-up, when she was trying to say this isn't true. He just kept talking. And this is like a strategy that people do. And the fucking legacy media, it's been going on for too long that the legacy media just lets people do this. And it's fucked up because the person hosting the show is in a position where they're basically they're doing the show. The producer is producing the show. It's not like me where I'm producing the show and the host, right? They have either a competent host or a competent producer or possibly both. And nobody has anybody's back. And that what we just saw there is bullshit. And it happens over and over and over again, especially on CNN. I think on MSNBC, I think they break in. But now they're like, oh, you're too partisan. And on Fox, if one of these people just wants to say a bunch of lies, they just let them talk. But there's got to be some line that you draw as the producer of a show. And maybe you even let your guests know. You're like, hey, we're happy to have you on. We know that your view is going to be, different than the mainstream view. We're representing the mainstream view. All we ask is that you, if our host starts talking, you stop talking. People are But they're all spineless. They're all afraid. I don't know why they're afraid of these people. Anyway, here is this California representative from a Democratic California representative run out of his own town hall. Is that right? Is Jay Auburn a Democrat? I think he's a Republican. Let me look this up. I think I could be wrong here. Let me make sure here. Sorry about this. I know this is you're listening on the he's a Republican. I got that wrong in my notes. This is Jay Obernolte. He's a Republican from California, and he was run out of his own town hall meeting here. I knew that doesn't make sense. Well, I mean, a Democrat could get run out of their own town hall too, but the wording of the original post, I'm like, no, I don't think they. Anyway, here's this guy getting run out of his own town hall meeting. I wonder, like, it was probably just thanks to the person from a Discord who sent that in. There was probably one of those things where the people were asking him questions and he was like saying that they shouldn't ask the questions or whatever, because we've seen this over and over and over again, basically, where the people show up at the town hall and ask questions and the person seems shocked that their constituents are asking the question. This happened in California. Obviously, this isn't going to be like LA or San Francisco or whatever. Up next, we got former Congressman Matt Gaetz, now I guess a fucking television show host, talking about New York and congestion pricing.
What's New York's newest idea? Charge drivers $15 to creep crawl into Manhattan, because nothing screams freedom like taxing you to sit in traffic. You're supposed to tax the things that you want to disincentivize. Picture this, the king of Queens hauling around in his work van, coughing up $15 while some finance bro zooms by on a Rivian sipping liquid tofu. Just ride the subways. Yeah, those rat-infested money pits that smell like urine and broken dreams. I'm not ever stepping into a New York subway. Neither is any member of my family.
Dude, you don't want to fucking step on a New York subway because you're going to... the people aren't going to like you.
Unless Daniel Penny is available to be personal security. Him or maybe Kyle Rittenhouse. We would take Kyle too. Joining us now is someone who has been deeply involved in this battle for a while now.
I am not riding a subway, and neither is a lot of other people. I am getting in my car and I'm driving.
Right. Well, fucking tough shit then. He said creeping and crawling in New York. That's the problem, is there's fucking traffic is so bad there. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think like certain commercial vehicles and stuff are like exempted from this, right? I think like if you're delivering goods, also if you're like a delivery driver, if you're delivering goods like to like Safeway or like a big company, your company's eating that cost if it applies at all. This congestion pricing is great. The people who actually live and work in Manhattan fucking love it, because everybody who lives and works in Manhattan, they take the subway, friend, unless they're like fucking rich. But if you're that rich, then you have a driver, right? You have a driver and you don't care about no $15. Also, like if you already live in Manhattan, the cost you don't pay it because you're already in Manhattan. You pay it to come in. I mean, what's the difference between that and a bridge toll? All these fucking bridge and tunnel ass people who don't live in New York City who think they have a right to drive in New York City. Anyway, did you know that women, they're the wrong crowd?
They're trying to impress people that no one cares about. And that's what's wrong with the Democrats. They're always trying to be popular with the wrong crowd, like foreign nations, like the media, like college professors or women. And
women. The wrong crowd of fucking women.
They always end up sounding like these effeminate snobs who hate America. And everybody doesn't want to be around people like that. That's why the blacks and the Hispanics and all of the young men and all of the unions were like, guys, just get away from us.
So black people, he's talking about the election. Black people and Latino people still voted more for Democrats than for Republicans. Young people still voted more for Democrats than Republicans. There were some shifts. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like now all of a sudden they hate. And he said effeminate too. What do you mean effeminate? He's talking about me, I suppose, because I fucking think I'm better than them. But I'm better than them because I'm fucking not cool. But like, I don't know, if fucking people don't tell me to get away from them. Well, at least I hope not. If somebody does tell me to get away from them, I'm probably in the fucking wrong. But it ain't going to be because they It's going to be because I'm like effeminate or fucking whatever. And women, you're trying to appeal to women. Who would try to appeal to women? Man, I can't wait till this fucking guy's wife leaves him. I think he left his first wife. I can't wait till his wife leaves him. All right, everybody. We got a couple palate cleansers here. This one, I think we're going to probably watch this twice. Check this out. All right, well, maybe we're only going to watch that once. Oh my fucking God. Oh no. I know it was edited, but fuck, dude. All right, the next one we're definitely going to watch more than once. Oh, friends, you fucking love to see this shit right here. Check this out. Here's a camera somebody had outside of their work. The police are on the scene. You get ready. The police are here to protect and serve. Watch this. Oh, let's watch that again. If you're watching on the podcast, or you're listening on the podcast on like iTunes or fucking Spotify or whatever, I could explain that to you, but you're just going to have to watch the video or check the docket for that. That was, you love to see it. Up next, we got another palate cleanser. This one has a doggo, and it's a doggo and a track and field meet. Check this out. The dog tried to trip the guy at the end too. If I can get him, dog. But at the end, the best part was when the dog was like, "Oh, I'm actually going to try to trip this guy." Fucking poor sportsmanship ass dog. Up next, we got some hit songs at the Capitol from Robbie Road Steamer. God, this guy's already too popular. Otherwise, I would love to be able to get this guy on to sing us a couple fucking songs some night. Yeah, dog played dirty. Here's some hit songs at the Capitol for people who need hit songs at the Capitol.
You got a cop car? I want a ticket to anywhere. Start from zero, got nothing to lose. You and I can get in your cop car. Finally see what it means to be living. You want the mic, Laura? No. Where's my Democrats? We can take that Capitol. I want my Biden next. There's more cops here today than there was on January 6th. We can storm it, and we're going to insurrect it, and we're going to open up the new Mar-a-Lago North, and we can have taquitos in there. Cause an insurrection.
That guy's like fucking kind of annoying, but I like him. He's gonna end up being I get like a little bit of that guy's gonna end up being like an asshole kind of vibe from him. But we haven't had any evidence of that yet. So that's all completely vibes based. And I hope I'm wrong. So up next, miracles are taking place every day because Trump is listening to the prophets. Shout out to Right Wing Watch. Probably could not do this show without Right Wing Watch and other Media Matters, etc.
President Trump did not mind hearing prophetic words or hearing from the, from the clergy, from fivefold ministries, even allowing them to pray over him, prophesy over him. He did not mind that at all. And there are others in his cabinet that are the same way. So thank God we have someone that's paying attention to what the church has to say, that the ecclesia has to say. We went through a period of time where the government wasn't listening, but now they are. Yeah. And look what's happening. Yeah. The reset promised is taking place right in front of our eyes. We're looking at miracles taking place every day.
I mean, sure. If you believe in miracles, then why wouldn't they take place every day? These people are crazy. Somebody in chat said that Trump dissociates during the prayers. I mean, that may or may not be like technically true, but yeah, like obviously, like Donald Trump is not like a churchy kind of guy, right? He never has been, but he's just able. He knew that he could get these fucking people on his side because he could just make the right signals about hating the right groups of people, and the extremist wing of the evangelical movement would just get in line with him no matter what he did. This one's a little bit longer, but this is Kathy DeGraw, and I've been meaning to maybe keep a little bit closer eye on her. This is exposing monitoring spirits, not exposing and monitoring spirits, but exposing spirits that are there to monitor you, and sexual attacks in the spiritual realm.
You guys can all relate to angels. Angels watch us, right? They guard us. Okay, what are demons? Fallen angels. So they can watch us, monitor, right? And so the monitoring spirits are watching your activities. They know your sins. They know your temptations. They know
like Santa Claus, but evil.
So we have to bind and restrict those monitoring spirits. Because then those monitoring spirits go back to their commanders, because there's a hierarchy, there's a principality system here.
A bureaucracy?
Shooting out demonic orders to come and attack your mind again and keep you in that same bondage. So it's not just enough to cast out a spirit of lust and perversion. We have to cast out mind-binding spirits. We got to cast out familiar spirits, and we got to bind and restrict monitoring spirits. And ultimately, they're luring you, they're seducing you, okay? And not really a seduction way. They're just luring you and drawing you in to that negative way of thinking, into that sin and temptation. So what else do you have? Spirit of addiction. So when we're looking at the demonic realm, whether to set ourselves free or someone else, because I know most of you are here because you want to do both. You want to set yourself free and you want to set someone else free. We have to look at...
Do everyone else a favor and just set yourself free from the demonic realm. Don't run around exercising other people.
Principalities, powers, rulers, spiritual hosts, okay? And we have to go deep in the ministry of deliverance to get it all out. And that's why people aren't being set free from sexual sin, is because we're not going deep enough. But at the root of all that...
But how deep? There's a joke in there about sexual sin and going deep. There must be a joke in there.
To repent for any part we played in. But also we have to remove condemnation, because a lot of this has come in, even masturbation and pornography addictions have come in because of the sexual abuse in your past.
No, this is bullshit. This stuff is bullshit. People, first of all, I'm not sure that like pornography addiction is really a thing, although there are people who watch too much porn. Those are called gooners. But no, actually, if you were abused or whatever, it's not the one-to-one way that people talk about it. There are ways in which certain self-destructive behaviors might be more common in those who are victims of abuse, but it's not this one-to-one relationship like she's talking about it. And it certainly has nothing to do with demons and spirits and shit.
than that daddy did, or maybe a generational curse. So that's why the church in general needs to erase shame when it comes to sexual immorality, because if the church would erase shame and embrace love, people can get free from their addictions. And every single Christian has had an issue. Every single Christian has had something, some kind of experimentation, some kind of abuse, some kind of wrong thought. Everyone has had something. And so it's time for us.
Everybody's had some kind of wrong thought. Yeah, I'm having some wrong thoughts right now, all right?
So we can get free and stay free. Okay? I don't want temporary freedom. I want to get free and stay free. Amen? Okay. So I want you to look at that. Repent of any sexual sin you did, but also forgive anybody. Okay? Now, we're going to get into some really heavy stuff, and like, guys, this is real. I mean, this sounds like paranormal, but I mean, this is real stuff, all right?
No, this is paranormal. Well, actually, it's just bonkers.
I'm going to give you some scriptures, even to back this up. A lot of people have
Is that a pack of fucking Camels on the fucking desk there? Is she gonna fucking light up a cigarette right there in the fucking, oh, it's a book. For a second, I was like, that's a pack of cigarettes. Fucking smoke them if you got them, crazy lady.
in the night, okay? And so we're going to go to Isaiah 34:14. Isaiah 34:14. And it says, the wild beast of the desert shall also meet with the jackals, and the wild goat shall bleat to its companions, and the night...
She's not talking about that movie Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, is she? Because that movie was fantastic.
...shall rest there. Now, you really need to study this out, okay? So from seeing all this, but when you're studying it out, you're looking at it in the original context, all right? The creatures here is actually a demon of Lilith. Now,
oh no, Lilith! Oh, they're going. Oh man, she's kicking it like fucking 90s dipshit evangelical here, isn't she? Fucking spirit of Lilith.
Everybody has had a sexual attack in the night. Okay, let's just be really explicit. Okay.
No, not everyone. No, not everyone has. Thankfully, these people are fucking pilled to the gills, though. They think that everybody's fucking running around, fucking diddling kids and shit.
Raped in the night, maybe you felt demonized in the night, maybe you had a wet dream, maybe you woke up.
Oh my god, maybe you had a wet dream. Oh no, all the teenagers were fucking spiritually raped. All them teenage boys that fucking come to their pajamas when they were sleeping.
Organized, I mean, maybe you felt some kind of defilement, okay? These demons come in and they attack people in the night. So here, they're called incubus demons and succubus. And so an incubus is a nightmare induced by a demon that takes on the form of a man, and the succubus takes on the form of a woman. Now, when we look at this night creature and we study it out, it's a demon of Lilith. Have you guys heard that before?
Fucking shut the fuck up. Oh, but she looks like she would play the bass at the Lilith Fair. I don't know what's going on here.
The demon of Lilith. Now, I want to tell you guys, because so many of you came up. Guys, I'm not going to make you raise your hand, but so many of you already came up and we weren't even talking about these demons, and you're like, man, I need prayer for these demons that are attacking me in the night sexually, okay?
Whoa. Oh, really? Is that what people were saying? Maybe they were at your last event?
And I tell you, I didn't always embrace this. You know, when I first started hearing this stuff, I'm like, oh man, this sounds kind of weird, you know? But I studied it, I got a lot of teachings, you know, my friends, Mike, Isaiah, John, Glad, you know, they all talk about it. I mean, they all can't be wrong, guys.
I mean, yeah, they can. Yes, they can.
I know a lot of you have had these visitations. So I believe one reason that you're not getting delivered is because you're not calling again it outright. We got the lust, we got the perversion, but then we have the incubus and the succubus spirits. But then how many people have said spirit of Lilith go in Jesus' name? And that's the core of the strong man here. So when we look at Genesis 6, it actually talks about the sons of God. Some of you have heard this, okay? and the angels, the giants that the Nephilim produce. You guys following me here? And
I am.
Okay.
All right. Well, what I'm learning here is that what we learned here is that Kathy DeGraw does not belong on the white colored lights portion of our show. Kathy DeGraw has now been relegated to red light only. We will not watch Kathy DeGraw during the white lights portion of the show. Kathy DeGraw is fucking bonkers. And like fucking, like, I don't know if it's even like that interesting to watch like religious weirdos anyway, because most people who go to church are fucking cool, actually. Like most people who go to church are like involved in their community and fucking they go to the fucking cookout and they're just nice people and shit. That lady started her own fucking church in what appeared to be a fucking Holiday Inn Express. So that's like a whole different can of worms. So we have a clip. Evangelicals are trying to shut down a metaphysics shop, like a crystal healing store. You buy some fucking sage to like smudge your apartment and shit.
Power. There's only one power, the highest power, and that's Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
You guys don't have permission to record here. It's a private property, and I just have to tell you guys, I'm enjoying your singing though, and I appreciate you sharing your love of God and your love of Jesus with people.
Because we've been through this, we've seen this, we've actually seen it.
So again, you don't have permission to record here. It's a private property. So if you could please turn off the cameras, but you guys are welcome to sing.
We're going to leave. I just want to let you know that the blood of Jesus Christ is truly the ultimate power. He wants to save you. He loves you so much.
Thank you. I'm actually saved, believe it or not. So
imagine this. The lady at the metaphysics shop is totally nice. And she's like, could you just, I don't even mind that you're singing. Just stop filming me.
But I'm not open to having a conversation. I'm here just to ask you guys to stop recording. She's still recording. Yeah.
So is he.
Who are you guys with?
They're with me.
Who are you?
My name is Benji.
What?
Benji.
And what organization are you with? You seem to be very proud. What?
We're sons of God.
Sure. What group are you guys with? What church? What organization?
They don't go to church. This looks like it was organized on fucking TikTok.
But I just wanted to ask you. You said you're saved.
Yeah.
But
I'm not open to having a conversation.
Can I just ask you why do you have
the creator of all that is the creator of everybody reigns over the entire earth and everything. And his love is imbued in every single thing that is everywhere. Yeah. He's not finite. He's infinite.
Yeah, he's infinite.
Yeah.
So when we talk about God,
you said you're not open to have a conversation, and then now you're having a fucking conversation.
you believe it's like Yahweh?
Yeah, El.
Everybody is God. Like everybody basically have their own faith.
I mean, everybody is in God and of God, but they are not God. We cannot be God. Of course, yeah.
So in the Bible,
but we cannot exist outside of God because it is the creative force that animates the body, the trees, the grass that we're within.
So I just wanted to ask if
you
believe in the God of the Bible, though, right?
I believe that the God in the Bible was changed from from in the canon, and that Yahweh sat on the council of El.
Yeah.
You know, and so a lot of it changed a lot. So, but again. You know, I mean, I don't need to have a philosophical religious debate with you.
But you already started. You already fucked up. Lady, you seem so nice. You seem so nice, and I would buy fucking incense from your metaphysics shop. But you're already fucked up. These people will not leave you alone. If you give these people just a little bit, they're going to be there all the time, like trying to fucking, not only like trying to bother you, but basically making it so your customers don't show up. They're going to be trying to be like, oh, are you a witch? Why are you going to the metaphysics shop?
You know, there was a point in time where I didn't even believe it. I kind of was just living life on autopilot.
I'm happy that you found your way to God. That's really beautiful.
The only thing I just want to leave you with is that God actually commands us a way to worship Him. Right? He actually calls a lot of this stuff idolatry because the same lips and everything.
I walk with God. I walk with the Creator, and I don't need
that fucking sage stuff that you have that your people like use to get the bad juju out of their house. That stuff smells terrible. Just walk out there there with some of that.
I'd like you to tell me whether or not that's true for me. But thank you. Just because I don't believe the way that you believe, and I don't judge the way other people approach the Creator, and I allow them to have their path, does not mean that my way or my connection to the Creator is less than yours.
God is truly God.
So yeah, someone said in chat, the only way to win is not to play. She said, I'm not going to have a discussion with you, which is the right thing to do. She should just be like, listen, I'm trying to run a business here. She's like, I'm fine with you guys singing. You're actually on the business's property. Please, if you could do this without blocking the entrances, I'd really appreciate it. I won't even call the fucking police, but you need to get off the property. You need to stop filming me. Or if you're filming, you need to be off the property when you're filming. And if you don't do those things, I'm calling the police right now. I mean, fuck the cops. The cops might show up and take the side of the evangelicals. This is Orlando, Florida, right? They might be like, well, we didn't even know that you were allowed to have a metaphysics shop. But like, you can't do this. You can't like try to like fucking like put your foot down or draw a line in the sand and then cross it yourself. But anyway, those people were being fairly rude, and the metaphysics shop lady seems super nice. And if I lived in that neighborhood, I wouldn't buy that sage shit that they use to smudge people's houses or whatever, because that shit smells like shit. It increases the bad juju, but otherwise, I'm like, whatever, I'd shop there. Up next, we got three more clips, I think, before we go into red light here. Yep. We got two of Dum Dum Dave Rubin. Here's one of Dum Dum Dave Rubin talking to one of the world's biggest ghouls. This would be Peter Thiel. And they're talking about South Africa and the Biden administration.
I think the FISA process was completely out of control. The Russia conspiracy theories, 2016, 2017, it was completely insane, contrived, in some ways extremely malicious.
Yeah.
And we should come clean, and we should publicize every single FISA investigation that was made. And
isn't a lot of that, you can FOIA a lot of that stuff.
We should discuss who are the people.
He has plenty of resources to FOIA all that stuff, but he's behind on injecting the blood of fucking 16-year-olds. So he's maybe not at his best right now.
Who drove these investigations. And then again, I'm not sure they should go to jail or get fired, but it should be at least, part of their record in their career at these departments.
Right. I don't know if you saw it.
I think there's the part where I'm sort of hopeful is I think we're already at a point where the FISA process is way less out of control than it was 8-9 years ago, because people are at FBI and NSA, they are more hesitant to do this because they kind of worry there might be accountability at this point. But I also suspect,
or maybe they're doing it outside of official channels, especially in the intelligence services. They do a lot of things outside of official channels.
It's really out of control in the recent past. Identity politics calls us always to relitigate the ancient past, the sins of our forefathers.
The ancient past, friend, redlining technically ended in the 80s and still practically exists. What do you mean the sins of our fucking fathers? He's like, I don't know, the fucking Civil War happened and the side I wasn't in favor of won, so that should be the end of that.
And what I think the Trump administration should be investigating is not the distant past, but the recent past. It's more important to look into COVID-19 and Fauci and all these people than into 1619. And so, and then
we know what happened in 1619
is that there was a lot of abuse. There was a lot of crazy stuff that happened because, and this again is sort of an obnoxious comparison. I think there was something about the Biden thing that was crazier than apartheid South Africa.
Well, of course you do. These motherfuckers all love South Africa. Now, this guy, This guy, I think him and Musk are not. This guy was born in Germany, and I believe Musk was born in Canada, but they both spent some time in South Africa. They both rather enjoyed it during the apartheid there, actually, best we can tell, allegedly.
Because apartheid South Africa, by the 1980s, they knew they were on the wrong side of history. They knew their days were numbered. The Biden people, the Obama-Biden people, they were so delusional. They thought they were on the right side of history, and, they were going to be the winners. They would always get to rewrite the rules. It was like the ancien regime, right. Pre-revolutionary France.
Wait, but we're not supposed to be talking about the fucking ancient past, and then you showed us a picture of a dude in fucking, I don't even know what you call that outfit. What do you call this outfit?
The rules. It was like the ancien regime.
Right. Like, this is the fanciest motherfucker that ever existed in fucking ancient history. Look at how fancy this motherfucker is.
Pre-revolutionary France. They thought it would go on forever. And so if you're in a world where you think you're on the winning side, you will always be able to get to rewrite the rules. On one analysis, how much will you push the envelope? How much will you bend these rules? And so I think there was a lot, and there's a lot there are a lot of strings that can be pulled. And if we pull enough of them, the fabric of the ancien regime of liberalism will, completely unravel.
Whoa, dude. Okay, so to the extent that mistakes were made during the COVID, there were mistakes made, but there was a novel virus and people were doing their best. I don't think anybody had ill intent. To say that that's worse than apartheid South Africa because, well, I don't even know. Fuck it. I'm not even gonna interrogate that as if it's. That's the first time in a while we've watched a clip of Dave Rubin where, like, I don't know, like, Dave Rubin wasn't the biggest ghoul in the clip. Oh, speaking of a clip of Dave Rubin where Dave Rubin isn't the biggest ghoul in the clip, we have another one here. This is him talking to old Jordy Pete. I don't think we're going to run this one on IDT. I could not fucking sit through. I'd get very angry. Anyway, here's speaking of Dave Rubin, have people on who are just bigger ghouls than him.
We're just weeks after a Trump presidency where there's a feeling of hope here.
Yeah.
And that's been making me think, boy, an awful lot can change in a year and a half. And that's you can probably give me a biblical version of that.
Yeah, well, things fall quickly and they can rise quickly. And how do we make sense out of what's happened with Trump? Well, what would we might say about that? The last will be first. How about that? Who's head of NIH? Jay Bhattacharya.
Yes, not bad.
Right.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
From an epidemiologist.
But it's like a fucking podcast took over the government.
Whose career was threatened with serious cancellation, who was pilloried terribly. Now he's going to run the NIH by all appearances. And we've seen a lot of that incredibly odd reversal. And, well, it's very hard to know what to make of that, except that, well, the evidence is starkly in, isn't it? It's happening. RFK is an excellent example of that. Tulsi Gabbard, turfed by the Democrats.
Turfed by the Democrats? Well, no, she was a turf. I think like any reasonable person when analyzing Tulsi Gabbard got off that fucking car as soon as she started fucking hobnobbing with Narendra Modi. That was when I was like, all right, enough going on here.
I mean, the Trump administration is run by Democrats. Essentially, the courageous Democrats who were turfed from their own party now run the United States under the guise of Republicans in conjunction with Trump.
Yeah.
Well, like, who's going to predict that? Well, I guess you think, well, the last won't be first. It's, well, yeah, I guess I guess they will.
Well, that was crazy. Not as crazy as what Peter Thiel said, though. We'll call that like, maybe I'd say 60%, 50% is wild, because Peter Thiel said the thing Peter Thiel said was fucking wild. Whew. All right. We got one more here. Last week we ran a clip of Joe Rogan questioning some of this alien shit, being like, where's the alien? Where's the alien? And I was like, well, that's pretty good, actually. Good for you. Well, don't worry about it. We were sort of looking a little bit at, we're sort of looking a little bit at this, it's called the telepathy tapes. Return to clip. Why isn't this going? Return to clip. I'm having a fucking YouTube acting crazy right here. I would like, let's try this again. We may not actually have this fucking clip here because it seems like YouTube is going to do a dumbass thing here. Got it. No. Well, it looks like we're not going to do that because it's not loading, and I can't sit here forever and figure out why the fuck YouTube isn't loading a clip. The clip we were about to watch was Joe Rogan was talking about the telepathy tapes. The telepathy tapes were this gross thing where people were trying to supposedly help like autistic children, but then came to the conclusion that they were all like literally like communicating telepathically. It's really gross. We listened to a little bit of the podcast on the post game for the IDT, and it wasn't great. Let's just say that it wasn't great. So our last clip didn't work. So I guess an awkward way to close out the podcast part of the show. If you're listening on the podcast part of the show, you want the rest of the show, maybe tune in live sometime. We're live 6 nights a week, most weeks, twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. And, I don't know, you could also go to eplex.store or patreon.com/Echoplex, subscribe at the $5 a month or more level, and you'll get the entire show audio and video in your inbox the day after it airs. If you're watching live on one of the myriad platforms, hang tight. We're not going anywhere. Just going to take a break. I'm going to pour a cocktail. And, yeah, so we're going to go into red light. I'm like fucking totally... totally like that threw me off so bad when that shit didn't play. I'm like, what do I do? My mind just it almost came to a halt. You almost watched me just sit here and just become unstreamable, whatever. Anyway, this is Boomers by Periscope. I'll be back in a minute.